Welcome to Aligned Musings. In this video, I am going to show you how I approach my monthly setup. And so this isn't the decorative type of plan with me video. This is the functional part of how I set up my planner. And so the first thing I work on is this monthly spread. And I don't just remember them, I do use my reference planner, which has a perpetual calendar of all of the birthdays for my friends and family. I don't think there's anything too private in here. I don't think I have full names. So yeah, this is my reference planner. That's an example of the May birthdays, and I would just put those into the monthly spread. And I've already popped my holiday stickers in here. So I use this as a future log. Anything that is put in here, I will also transfer into my weeks pages, and that could be on a monthly or weekly basis. Depends on how I am tracking that month. And in terms of the weekly spreads, I generally have this layout with the habits, meals and inbox, and I set this up on a weekly basis just in case I want to change it up, but I haven't in the last 12 months. So I will show you how I do that. I'll set it up for next week. And the stickers are in this sticker release insert, which is a little worse for wear, but I am still using it, and it has my Happy Mail Studios stickers in here. I'll link them down below if you're interested in getting them from my shop. And so the first section is my habit tracker, and I just use this little habits cursive script sticker. And just to make the setup a little quicker and a little cleaner, I use one of these horizontal week strip stickers. And I just use these pointy tweezers because it makes applying the stickers a lot easier for me. From here I use my Sakura Pigma Micron liner. I like to use this pen for, I guess, dots and lines specifically. I just find that the dots come out a lot darker and the lines don't skip when I'm using this pen. And it is the size 01, which is a 0.25mm line. That's what it says on the pen, but I would say it is equivalent to a 0.38 gel pen. And I just like to pop some dots in my habit tracker just because I think it looks a little nicer and a little bit more filled in. And I just update it during the day or towards the end of the day, depending on the habit that I'm tracking. And I know this is a monthly planner setup, but this is quite a significant part of the Hobonichi weeks, so I thought I'd just show you this as well. And my current preferred pen for this Hobonichi weeks is the Muji 0.38 gel refill in this Uniball 1 pen. And at the moment, the habits that I am tracking are sleeping for more than 7 hours, staying hydrated, which is like a liter of water a day, eating fruit, doing Pilates or yoga, completing my 10k steps for the day, working on my side hustles, and tracking my no spend. The next section in my week's pages is my meal tracker, and I have been doing this one consistently. It helps me remember the days, so that's handy for when I'm backfilling my 5-year techo and I can't remember what I ate or did that day. I like to reference these meals, and then it helps me rejig my memory. And for my meal tracker, I like to use my vertical week strips, also in the 3.55mm grid. The next section is my weekly to-do list or tasks list or inbox. I have stickers for all of the above, so I just use whichever I feel like using that week. And today I'm going to use the inbox sticker. And I usually like to leave about 2 grid spaces between each section. And then I'll fill this with my migrated tasks. So usually on a Sunday I like to go through the list and cross off the ones I've completed, and if not, then I migrate them over to the next week. And that is pretty much how I set up my weekly spreads. I'm actually just noticing now that I have a day off for the 31st, but it actually isn't a day off. I think I've popped that there by mistake, so I'm just gonna wipe that out. And this cream tape is a lifesaver. It is by Plus, the same company that makes the Deco Rush tapes, and they're really small and petite, and it fits in the Tragan cover as well. And on the next few weeks' pages, I actually haven't popped in my ruled lines. So I like to have this delineating line through the 1/3 of the page, I think it is. I just use the dots that are on the Hobonichi page already as a guide, and I find that that leaves enough space for my highlight of the day and the little checkbox and the to-do item. And here I just have a ruler that I've had forever. I don't know where I got it, probably just from Officeworks. And the mechanical pencil that I am using is the Kuru Toga Roulette, I think is what it's called. And what I do is have 2 delineating lines so that I can pop my little cross or dot or dash hyphen in the middle. And I am quite fond of the bullet journal method. I find it really does work for me, but I don't do the whole creative setups that a lot of people do here on YouTube. I just use the method, the functional aspects of it in a dated planner, because that is what works for me. And usually if there were holidays, I would stick those stickers in here, but there's not much going on in February in Australia, so let's move on into the notes pages. I do tend to forget my index page, but we have remembered it today, so I am going to fill this in. My Feb pages started on page 22, so I'm just going to pop that in here now. To be honest, I don't really use this index page, but it is here, so I'm just going to try to fill it in when I can. Okay, and here we have some of my annual tracking pages. And what I like to do is just run through all of the tasks for the previous month and make sure I completed them. And I don't usually complete all of my tasks, but what I find comforting is that it's written down and I know that I eventually need to do them. And that is especially the case for my lower priority items. For now, I'm just going to write down the items that I need to complete based off my annual tracker. And I generally have this set up at the beginning of the year when I set up my planner. I'll pop that link up above if you're interested. And so for this month, I need to review some of my utility providers and go to the optometrist. I also like to check off any items that I have completed, so I did give Moira her flea treatment in January, and I need to make sure she gets her worm treatment this month as well. Anyway, I'm just going to work through some of these items, pop them in here, migrate some tasks from the previous month, and then I will see you on the other side. So I've migrated a bunch of tasks into my Eisenhower matrix for February, and I've also popped some tasks in my weekly spread just because I could complete it this week. So annual tracker and cleaning tracker tasks are all migrated and accounted for. And here I have my weekly tasks. So I do this every Sunday, but I do backfill at the end of the month if for some reason it's been a busy few weeks and I didn't get a chance to check these off. And if I can't recall whether or not I completed it that week, I refer to my weekly logs and check it off if it has been completed. Pretty stock standard process. And just reverting back to my Sakura Pigma Micron because I like it for checking off items and lines like I'd mentioned earlier. And as I go through this weekly list of tasks, I tend to update my current week and the next week in case I've let a task slip for too many weeks. And I find that this exercise helps me realize what I haven't been focusing on. I've got some self-care items down at the bottom here and I haven't really been focusing on that, so that kind of just helps me realize it and try to focus on it for the next week. From here we have my wish list. And what I like to do here is just go through my low buy list because this kind of helps me remember what it is I set out to not purchase too much of this year. And I feel like if I remind myself every month, it will just be a little bit more effective. And just backfilling my wish list for stationery with the BK Truly Yours notebook because it was a big ticket purchase. For the date night log, I just reference what we did do. I went to the Idols gig with my husband, which was so good, and our first gig of the year. We also did go to Robata, which is a Japanese restaurant in the city. And we got the feed me menu, which was delicious and also very filling. It was my third time at Robata and my husband's first, so he really enjoyed that experience. And just referring back to the wish list, we did do a bit of shopping for our outdoor area, and there are a couple more items that I do want to get. So that's the grass for the front yard and also some gravel for the backyard. We've just been working on the outdoor area slowly but surely. And I haven't really been that into clothes lately, so there's nothing there for that. And hopefully it stays that way for a little while and I can save some money. And I forgot to do this before when I was filling out the Feb Eisenhower matrix, but I'm just going to cross off the items that I know I've done and migrate the tasks that I didn't complete and still need to do in February. I try not to stress out about this too much. For me, the fact that I have written it down and I have the intention to do it is kind of enough to keep my mind at bay. The only items that I truly feel like I have to complete are the ones that are in the urgent and important box, but I still feel like having these tasks all prioritized in some way really helps me not stress out too much about them. And I don't really have tasks that are not urgent and not important. So I use this quadrant as a little de-stash to-do list. Just some items that I no longer want to keep in my collection and things that I want to sell. I'm actually thinking about starting a de-stash page on my Happy Nail Studios website, including selling some pet tape loops, so keep an eye out for that. And I have on this notes page some items that I wanted to complete during my Christmas break. So I'm just gonna grab my plotter, which is just over here. Okay, here we go. So I've added a new planner to my lineup. It's an old plotter, like I've had this for a year, but I've repurposed it. It is now my side hustle planner. And I'm digressing here, but I just want to create a new little to-do list for my YouTube videos, and I'm just going to pop it in this planner. I had been wanting to add the plotter back into my planner and journal stack in the last couple of weeks because I had been using it previously as my work planner, but currently I am using my Kinbor for that and I just missed it. So I've moved some of these inserts from my Louis Vuitton reference planner and into this plotter, and I am loving it so far. Okay, and back to my task migration activity. I think that was a good example of how I use all of my planners and journals together. Although my Hobonichi Weeks is my main planner and my EDC, I still use my reference planner and also my plotter to migrate tasks and plan out my activities and tasks and whatnot. Okay, all those tasks are now migrated and I don't really have to look back at that page again. So that's that whole bullet journal method in play there. And that is pretty much everything. I'll just take you through what we've done here. We've set up the future log, which has birthdays, which I've migrated from my reference planner. That's it. And for my weeks pages, I have ruled out my delineating lines and set up my weeks page for next week. And on a weekly basis, I just repeat the same spread. And I think that's all I need to do here. Actually, what I might do is I've got those birthdays and events that I do want to remember in the weeks pages. So I'm going to go ahead and pop those dates in so that they are visible to me on that respective week. I do realize I am jumping around a lot here, but this is genuinely the process that I go through when I set up my Hobonichi Weeks for the month. I guess my planner is quite structured with the bullet journal method and the collections pages and whatnot, but I also allow myself a little bit of freedom in how I do my setup as well. Okay, all of my birthdays and events are in my weeks pages for Feb now, and I'll just go through what we did in the notes pages. I went through my annual tracker, my cleaning tracker, and I migrated a whole bunch of tasks. I do use this just as a guide to help me keep track of the things that I feel like I should complete. And then we've got the weekly tasks here, which I went through, and it kind of just reminds me of the items that I need to complete. And if I haven't done it in a few weeks, then it's probably something I need to focus on. In my wish list, I like to go through my low buy list just to remind myself of the things I don't want to purchase too much of. Fill out some of these pages, and then we have my monthly dedicated pages in the back here, and I just migrate some tasks as required from the Eisenhower matrix and the notes pages. So now my Eisenhower matrix is all ready and set up for the month of Feb. So that is essentially how I set up my Hobonichi weeks for the month. We did jump around a little bit there, but that is kind of how the process works for me. I hope you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye!